But you mentioned how there are a lot of like witches and warlocks in the Amish community, which I assumed that the Amish community was very Christ-like, very religious.
There are more connections of people who are in witchcraft among the Amish than there are those who are Christian.
Wow.
Because in very many sects of the, that's SECTS, in very many sects of the Amish, the Bible the Bible in English is forbidden. You're only allowed to read the German Bible. And because so very few people understand German, they don't actually know what's in there. And it's in both my mother's side in their churches and my father's side in their churches. Both my parents were told, if you read the English Bible, you will go to hell. There is no doubt in the teachers of their time. There is no doubt in the minds of the teachers that if you read the English Bible, you will go to hell.
Wow. And you told me it was quite the opposite, huh?
Very much that. Well, I'll give it this way. In almost the same way that there are so many denominations of Christians, there are so many sects, that's SECTS, of Amish. And it was always about studying the good book, but the good book was never called the Bible. In fact, when my grandma had passed in 2013, and I went to the funeral, I asked a bishop those 3 questions that I asked you. And of being born physically, yes, they're family. Of being adopted, no, they're not family. Of being born into the family but treating your name like crap, running your name to the mud and leaving the church, are they family? He said no, they left the church. And he asked me if I thought he was going to heaven. Now, he's asking me this in a group of people, and there's about 500 people in the whole place. I'm sitting around a bunch of the Amish bishops, and he's asking me if I think he's going to go to heaven. And when I said nope, the whole place went quiet. Like somebody had just said something awful, like, I'm about to kill you and your whole family. It's something like that. The whole place just went quiet. You could have heard a pin drop. But it was so quiet because I just told this guy who had preached the importance of being in the church because the church is going to get you to heaven. I just told him he's not going to go to heaven. And he says, why would you say that I'm not going to go to heaven? I said, no. The question is not about me. Why would you twice say no where God said yes? 2 out of 3 times you said no. Why should God just override what you said? You said no. Why should he override it?
Wow.
And when we are walking out of the building, my mom's like, Norm, you're talking to somebody. I was like, yeah. And she's like, do you know who you were talking to? I said, not a clue. And she says, that's the bishop who kept coming over to our house after we left the Amish to tell us that we were going to hell. What'd you tell him? I told him why he's not going to heaven. So, that community banned me from Michigan.
Wow, you got that badge of honor, huh? Thanks for watching. This was just a short clip from the full episode of God's Voice Today podcast. And if you want to see the full story, it should be on the screen right now. So don't miss it.